It's been a really long day. I just got off of work a little while ago, so that's why my makeup is off and it's non-existent. But here I am. I really want to record and upload this video, and we are here to review Seeking Sister Wife Season 3, Episode 4, Emotions and Commotions. So let's just get the nothingness out of the way. The Winders, nothing happened in their segment except that Tammy and Sophia went shopping for baby furniture, and then Tammy threw Sophia a baby shower. That was it. That's all. I mean, to be fair, I guess we can mention that Tammy shared that she struggles a little bit watching and witnessing Sophia's pregnancy because she and Colton have been trying to have another child, and she has suffered some miscarriages, which is tragic and heartbreaking. So I'm not even going to touch on that. But they are still trying to get pregnant, and now they are seeking the help of medical intervention to help them have another baby. So I wish them all the luck. Moving on to the Snowdens, they are getting ready to take Chrissy to the airport. Her trip has come to an end, and everybody's just really sad about it because they all feel a great connection with each other. Chrissy says it's bittersweet because she's really excited to get home and see her daughters, but leaving the Snowdens is gonna be hard. But she knows she wants to bring her daughters to LA so the girls, her daughters, can meet the Snowdens, and she also knows she needs to tell her family what's going on, that she's about to enter into a polygamous marriage. So she has some work cut out for her when she gets back home to South Africa. They take her to the airport. Dimitri says that Chrissy is leaving with a piece of his heart. Ashley is a little worried, about the long distance. It's challenging to keep the momentum and the flame alive. But, me, I don't really believe in long distance relationships, but I mean, they can work, but takes work. So they don't really have too much time to dwell because Taylor, the second potential sister wife, is coming to visit from Atlanta. If you recall, Taylor's 29. She doesn't have any kids, and she is a henna tattooist, we learn. And so they send a car for her to pick her up at the airport, and she arrives, and the Snowden kids just like run to her, jump into her arms, and it's really sweet. Like, you would think they've met her before, but she scoops them up, and everybody is just laughing and excited, and the producers pull Taylor aside, and she says that she's excited but a little nervous, and that she's always been, she's never been in a polygamous relationship, but she's always been curious and intrigued by polygamy because she's always felt that, people aren't possessions. You can't own somebody. And she's never understood how people feel like you can fall in love with somebody and not be able to fall in love with somebody else. Does that make sense? I mean, I get what she's saying. It sounds like what she's saying is she is not just open to polygamy, but she's open to a lot of things. And I don't know that the Snowdens and Taylor are necessarily on the same page. They might be in the same book, but not the same page, because I don't get the sense that the Snowdens are open in that way when it comes to their marriage. You have Dimitri, the husband, and the sister wives, but I don't think that Ashley can go out and meet a man and bring him back and be like a brother husband. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and I think that, Taylor is polyamorous the right word? I don't want to use the wrong terminology, but, I think she's just open to loving multiple people, and I don't know that necessarily jives with the Snowdens' marriage. But I think Ashley might be a bit aware because she says that her only concern with Taylor is that she comes into this house single, and that means she's independent and she's free, and she might be overwhelmed by sort of the large family she'll be coming into with 3 new children. Possibly if Chrissy comes in with her 2 children, now we have 5. And like I said in my last video, coming into a house with 5 young children would be a lot for most people. But Taylor seems really like cool and comfortable with the kids. She's just like, I let them hang on me, and they're jumping on her bed, and she's like, I love it. And Ashley's like, well, we'll see about that, after a couple days, how you feel, So I think it's kind of like, if this doesn't work out, I don't think it's because she can't manage a large family dynamic. I think it's because she's maybe wants to be with other people beside Dimitri, and I don't know that the rules allow for that. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So she's in town. They're gonna spend time with her. We're gonna see what happens, but that's kind of the sense I get of where this relationship is going. Moving on to the Merrifields, I usually save them for last, but so much happened with the Clarks. I'm gonna save them for last, but a lot happened with the Merrifields too. They're still in Cabo San Lucas. You know, we pan to Danielle's bedroom, and her bed is clearly not been slept in. And then we pan over to Roberta and Garrick's bedroom, and there they all are, the three of them, all snuggled up in bed. Well, I shouldn't exaggerate. They're like all laying on top of the blankets. Garrick's in the middle with each woman beside him. And Danielle shares with us that the night before, I suppose shortly after, you know, Garrick and Roberta tucked her in, Roberta came back over to Danielle's room and told her, like, you know, I don't really feel right about this. You know, we should all be together on the first night. You know, so like come to our room, hang out, sleep in our room, like let's spend the first night all of us together. And Danielle was so touched that, you know, Garrick and Roberta were so considerate of her feelings. And I'm like, babe, that wasn't Garrick, that was 100% Roberta. Because Garrick tells us the next day, let me put on like my Garrick face. He's talking to the producers and he says like, you know, last night when Roberta demanded that we bring Danielle over, like really quickly, like really fast, we got intimate. And it was so funny. We were laughing about it because Roberta kept saying like, hurry, hurry, before sister come back, sister come back. It's so funny. And the producers are like, does Danielle know about this? And he's like, no. And I was just like, ew. Please let that be the end of your speech. And if you know what movie that's from, leave it in the comments below. But honestly, like, I don't even have words for it. Like, I was watching that scene, like, gross. Like, he's gross. Like, and clearly this is about sex, him and Roberta. Like, if he couldn't even wait one night to hook up with her, like, he just had to at least get a quickie and, like, oh, this is sex. Like, I mean, am I off base? You guys let me know what you think. So today is the day where they're all gonna go looking at wedding venues for Garrick and Roberta because it is easier for them to get married in Mexico because Roberta's family will have a much easier time flying from Brazil to Mexico. So they're going to different venues and meeting with different like wedding coordinators, and Danielle's there looking like the third wheel. You know, Garrick's like all kind of like has his arm around Roberta and just, you know, steadily talking into that translator app, like having a conversation with the translator app actually, because he's just like so love. Like, how many people were you thinking of inviting? Because I was thinking of asking my best friend Matt to be my best man. And I'm just like, wow, he's really, you know how I feel about that translator app, so I'll let it go. And Danielle looks at him like, oh, you know, are you gonna ask Sam too? And he's just like, no, like, this isn't your wedding. Save your opinions and suggestions. And so, you know, Danielle kind of like, well, he doesn't say that, but that's the look he gives. But he does say no. But, you know, Danielle kind of like recoils and just kind of, she's just like looking around, taking it in. And she tells us, you know, it's bringing back memories of her wedding. And she never thought back then that she'd be divorced from Garrick and planning his wedding to his new wife. And, you know, her wedding was nothing like this paradise setting. You know, she got married in a park with some trees, and they start flashing like pictures of their wedding, and I was like, oh, I get it, you guys. I'm not one to like pick on people's looks, never, but I have to say, looking at these pictures of Garrick like from 13 years ago, he was a little bit of a nerd. Like, he had like this little Caesar bangs. He was tall but kind of like skinny, sinewy, is that the word? You know, his teeth were a little too big for his mouth. And, you know, I think at that time when he pulled Danielle, you know, she's super cute, probably a little too cute for him. She's still cute to this day, and he probably thought, you know, I probably can't do better than her, so I'm gonna lock this down, and he did. But now, today, you guys, you know, that he's put on a little muscle mass and he's grown into his teeth, he is totally feeling himself. And now he knows, like, with his new confidence and sex appeal, he can pull a lot of other women that he couldn't before. That's what this is. And so this whole, you know, it's under the guise of, like, polygamy and love and a new wife. Like, no, he just, you know, he wants to have sex with other women now that he can. And I mean, I guess to be fair, if you kind of squint your eyes and look to the side, like, I guess he's not like a bad looking guy in theory, you know, he's not my type, but I suppose I could see how women would be attracted to him. He's, you know, I guess he's good looking. I mean, again, not my type, but Anyway, so they go to the next venue, and Garrick's walking in with his 1970s like retro optic sunglasses, looking like Dirk Diggler, with his arm around Roberta, like, so love, like, what do you think of this place? It's muy lindo. And I'm just like, oh God, Garrick, like, stop trying to talk Spanish. No, actually, I take that back. You should be trying to learn Portuguese, actually, for your future bride. But I bet you, if they do get married and this relationship progresses, I guarantee Garrick nor Danielle will be taking the time to learn Portuguese. I mean, why should they? They're American. They live in America. What do they need a second language for? And if we get like a season 2 with them, I promise it's going to be Roberta sitting in a classroom learning English, mark my words, but I digress. So they sit down with this wedding planner who has like fruits laid out for them, like, beautiful like fruit plates and stuff. And she's letting them know like what the venue offers, what the cost is. And, Garrick just like, so love, like, what do you think of this place? And Danielle's just sitting there like eating her, pineapple, just like looking around like minute by minute. You could just see she's getting more uncomfortable. She's looking more awkward, more and more like the third wheel, to where finally like the wedding planner's like, so, like what? She looks at Danielle like, so what is like your role in all this? Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? And Danielle's like, oh, I want to be the maid of honor. I mean, I know I'm not going to walk down the aisle, but if you didn't know, like, we're polygamous. Like, he's both of our husband, like, we're all married. And the wedding planner's just like, cool, good for you guys, like, congratulations. And Danielle is just like, no, congratulations to them, like, all awkward. And they all kind of like laugh, and she's just like looking from like Garrick to Roberta, Roberta to Garrick, and just because they're just kind of like canoodling and all booed up. And you guys, it's starting to hit her now. She tells the producers like it's hitting her like a wave. And I'm just like, well, it's about time, because it hit me like a wave in the first episode. Like, it's finally dawning on her and sinking in that she is now like at the point of no return, that her ex-husband is about to marry somebody else. And she says, I'm really worried and concerned because I know over time people's feelings can change, and I'm just worried that Garrick and Roberta's feelings will change. And the producer asks her like, change in regards to you? And she's just like, yeah. Can I have a minute? And the producer's like, yeah, sure. She turns around, and I'm sure she just was, she was holding it in, and she turned around. I'm sure she just like crumbled, and just the tears, they came. I mean, I feel bad for her. I do. Should I not? I mean, she knew what she was getting into, right? We feel bad for Danielle? Do we? I do. No? You guys let me know how you feel in the comments below. I think next week, Roberta's going to tell Danielle about her and Garrick's quickie, that they had while Danielle was putting her pajamas on. And I think it's going to be really bad, It's going to be bad, but, so good at the same time. So moving on to the Clarks. Okay, so the scene opens with Jared talking with Vanessa and asking her, like, how did your talk with Kayla go? Like, you didn't even mention it to me. And she's like, well, it got a little heated. And that's all she says. That's all she shares. And he tells her, like, well, I need to have a conversation with Kayla because I haven't spoken to her about the night she left. And I don't even know how I feel about her moving back in. And, she has these 2 jobs, and I know she wants her own money, and I can respect that. But, I just don't think her having these jobs, it takes her away from the family and her building on the tribe. And Vanessa's like, yeah, I agree. And he says, if things could just go back the way they were before she had these jobs, everything was just perfect, and it was all love, and it was flourishing. And I was like, well, Jared, I mean, that's your perception and experience, but I think Kayla would beg to differ, but I guess we'll have to ask her and see what she says. And then he tells Vanessa, I'm going to impose a tribal council meeting. And what is that, you may wonder? Well, it's when they all get together, Jared, Vanessa, and Kayla, and they all get to, speak their piece, have their say. And once everyone has spoken their piece, Jared tells us, he gets the final say. He is the judge, jury, and executioner, because that's his job, you guys. He's their leader and their king. Those are his words, not mine. Now, look, I'm not going to judge this. Like some women, I know I sound sarcastic, but some women really like being submissive in their relationships and marriages, and some women don't. And then you have some kind of in the middle, maybe a slight, I mean, It's not, I couldn't, but you know what? Hey, if that works for them and they're happy, they like it, I love it for them, we're gonna just leave that there. So Vanessa says, that's a good idea, the tribal council, but you need to tell Kayla that you love her, remind her that you care about her, that you value her, because she really needs to hear it. He's like, yeah, I can do that. And then like right on cue, Vanessa comes walking through the door. She just got off work. She looks it. She looks tired. She looks like she's had a long day. And she sits down like, hey guys. And Jared starts off pretty calm. Like, hey, he gives her a kiss like, how was your day? And she's like, it was work. Like work is work. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I get it. I've had those days where work is work. But I have to say, from the jump, Kayla comes off very defensive, almost like ready for a fight that I don't think needs to happen, but she came ready. And so he's like, okay, well, me and Vanessa were talking and, we just want to let you know that we were both really hurt when you left. And, we know you have concerns and you have your gripes and, we just want to understand, like, help us understand because, we love you. If we didn't love you, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. And like I said, the defense comes out and Kayla's like, well, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. If I didn't love this woman, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And he's like, okay, yeah, I get that. But it's like, it doesn't really seem that way because like, you're never around, you're not here. And she's like, because I'm working. You know that I'm working. I be working. Like, Jared, I'm working. He's like, yeah, I know you're working. I have 2 jobs. He's like, yeah, I know you have 2 jobs, but you don't even call me. I'm always the one to call you. And she's like, because I'm at work. Like, I'm working. And it was almost like she's defending herself, like as if he's accusing her of like not actually working, but off doing something sneaky and shady on the down low. I think he's just trying to say, yeah, I know you're working. I know you're busy. We're all busy, but you make time for the things you care about. Like when you're not working, give me a call. But she's just like, I'm working. And he's like, okay, yeah, let me tell you something. You're working these jobs and I don't think it's beneficial for the family as a whole. When you were here, and you weren't working, like you didn't have to lift a finger. And I was like, okay, I get it. I'm kind of seeing Kayla's point now and where she's coming from because she did have to lift fingers, Jared. Like, didn't she have to lift those fingers to like clean that microwave? And even in the last episode when Vanessa was telling Kayla like, well, you just get to stay at home. It's like, I guess it kind of seems like Jared and Vanessa really don't value what Kayla does around the house. She's sort of the stay-at-home mom, housewife, homemaker who runs things, and they just kind of look at it like, well, you're home and you don't have to do anything. So what do you have to complain about? And that's not really fair. And so I see where Kayla's coming from now, 100%. And then he goes on to tell her like, or he actually tells the camera, the most important thing to me is like time. Time is like precious. Time is the most important thing. Like money, like whatever. And I'm like, well, Jared, it's easy for you to say that because you have the money. You're financially secure. Kayla isn't. And this kind of brings me to like a larger point I want to make in general regarding these shows that are sort of polygamist, eccentric, like the Sister Wives. We always hear, at least from the Browns on the Sister Wives show, that the wives are free to leave whenever they want. There's nothing tying them there. If they're unhappy, they can go. But where would they go to? I mean, and this isn't just for the Browns, but I feel like it's never really talked about really, if you're in a monogamous marriage and if you want to leave for whatever reason, big or small, valid or not, like, you're not leaving empty-handed. You're going to get something. Like, imagine putting like your blood, sweat, and tears, saving to buy a house, to build a savings account. And then you're the spiritual wife who walks away with nothing. You might be inclined to stay if you're not gonna get anything if you leave. And I feel like that's what happened with Kayla. When push came to shove that night, of microwave gate, and she left, she realized like, I don't have anything. I don't even have a job to like take care of myself. I'm gonna go crash at my friend's house and I don't even have $20, to give her for the light and water I'm about to suck up. And that must be a really scary feeling. And I think maybe in this moment she loves them and wants to work it out and be with them, but she's also aware that somewhere down the line this could really be over and she's gonna be left with nothing. Like, do you imagine the worst, most bitter divorce? Imagine that happens with Kayla and the Clarks. Do you think Jared is going to be like, okay, let me be fair. I'm going to take, you know, $50,000 equity out of this house, and while I'm at it, let me break you off some alimony. Like, of course not. He's not going to do that. He's going to be like, fuck you, bitch, leave if you want to leave. And she's going to have nothing, not even a job to like get her by. Like, I think she's aware of that. And I think that's like the conversation that isn't ever really talked about. Like, what happens when these spiritual wives do leave? Where do they go? What do they have? Is there any protection for them? And that's kind of like what I was trying to get at in my first review when I was talking about like Danielle and Garrick's divorce, and like the advantages you have to when you get married, and a marriage certificate, and that she's kind of just really throwing it all away for Roberta. Like, that's what I was trying to say. Like, you don't have any of those things when you're a spiritual wife. Or is there something I'm missing? Like, is there some sort of contract, something that's been signed saying you will get something? I don't know. Anyway, Kayla realizes what the deal is, and she's just protecting herself and looking out for herself, and I don't blame her. So at this point, she's like, look, if you brought me here to like point the finger at me, make me the bad guy, blame me for everything, like, I'm not gonna, that's not what's gonna happen. And she says, like, look, like, me and Vanessa had a talk, and we agreed, like, I'm gonna start coming around more. And Jared looks at her and says, like, well, that's not good enough for me. And she's like, well, then I'm not good enough for you. Nothing I can say is gonna be good enough for you. And then she kind of gets up like, I'm out of here. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna. And you guys, like, at this moment, like, this shift happens where she's kind of like on this rant, saying it as she's walking out the door, like, you know, you're not gonna make me look bad. You know, I'm not just some little crumb in the corner. I'm not some piece of trash that you had to pick up out of the gutter and dust off and clean off and rescue and save and bring home to, like, you know, your trophy wife. And I'm like, whoa, 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 Kayla, like, slow down. Like, what are you talking about? Like, because Jared's just standing there listening to her, and I'm like, I never got that impression from Jared or Vanessa that they felt that way about her. I mean, unless if behind the scenes he's calling her trash, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't. Like, I like Kayla, you guys, and with all due respect though, I feel like, is this how you feel about yourself, Kayla? And you're just projecting this? Because it's not how we see you as a viewer or how I see her. Like, when I first saw her in the first episode, I thought, like, wow, what a cute young girl. Like, why is she kind of tying herself down to the Clarks? But I mean, hey, if that's what she wants to do it. But if you want to be in a monogamous relationship and be treated like the queen, you know, the trophy, you can have that too. Like, nobody needs to rescue you or save you. Like, clearly you're a hard worker, you're smart, you're beautiful. Like, I hope she knows that. But, you know, she gets into her car, and he's trying to, like, you know, come inside, and she's like, no, like, get away from me, leave me alone, right? And so Vanessa finally comes outside, like, Jared, go inside. He does. Vanessa opens the car door, gives Kayla a hug, and is telling her, like, look, I love you. I don't want you to leave. Like, we got to work this out. And Kayla tells her, like, I love you too. Like, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not leaving. But, you know, he's driving me crazy. He's pissing me off. Like, I can't take it. I don't know what to do. And Vanessa's like, I know. He drives me crazy too. But, you know, like, take a deep breath. Let's go inside. Like, let's work this out. So they go back inside, and Jared, like, looks at her. Oh, well, first Vanessa's like, you guys need to kiss and make up, because this is too hard for me to watch the people I love go at it like this. So Jared looks at Kayla like, you know, all those things you're saying, like, is that how you really think I feel about you? Which is why I don't think he really tells her these things, like, because he's just like, I've never said that. Is that what you think? And she's like, well, in this moment, like, yeah, that's how I feel. And he's like, look, I'm just trying to tell you that I love you, that I miss you, that I want you around more. And she's just like, I'm working. Like, we get it, Kayla. We get it. You're working. But she's like, look, I'm working. Like, I work 2 shifts. Like, I work 11 hours, and then I go to my next job. Like, and I'm working tomorrow. But you know what? Like, I'm off at 9 o'clock. I'll be here at 9:15. Like, that is all I can do. Like, that's all I can do for now. Like, I'll be here. Is that okay? Is that enough? And he's like, okay, fine. Like, yes. Come by tomorrow. Sure. You know, it's because this isn't really going anywhere. And so she's like, well, you know, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Like, can I get my goodbye kiss? And he's like, are you serious? And she's like, oh, I'm dead serious. Or am I not worthy? And I'm like, oh, Kayla, because I like Kayla, but I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I have to say, it comes off a little manipulative on her part to kind of like put him on the spot like that, because you know, when you have like an argument, like a really bad fight, because this was with your partner, and you're kind of just like, it's ended, you're not really like, come here, give me a hug. You're kind of just like, I need a minute to like just, you know, take a beat, you know, But she's kind of like, am I not worthy for a kiss? And he's kind of like, you know, I'm good right now. And she's like, see, I knew it. I'm not worthy. And it's like, okay, are you trying to get us, the viewers, to look at him like he's a jerk because he won't give you a kiss goodbye? I mean, perhaps he could have gave her a hug and kissed her on the forehead, you know, just for the sake of the cameras. But, you know, I don't blame him, but I think she's being a little manipulative because she's aware of the cameras. Because when she was on her whole rant, she was saying, like, you're not going to make me look bad in front of these cameras. She's aware of how they're going to be perceived and how you can make somebody else look. So I don't know if that was really cool on her part, but I like her. I do like her. I don't think she should stay in this relationship because I don't think in the long run it's really going to work out. I think she's a little too young for them. That's just my opinion, you know, but I think they all care about each other, but we'll see what happens with them. You know, that's it, you guys. I hope it made sense. Like, let me know what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe if you want. Let me know how you feel about the whole, like, spiritual sister wife and what they get or don't get. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Is it making sense? Let me know your thoughts. I gained a few more subscribers. I'm really excited. I got a few comments that I was really excited to, like, engage with. So I guess I will see you all next time for the next episode. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.